IET, welcome to the set of Cursed.
Everybody's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Wolfman's got Nards!
Cursed is a 2005 horror movie directed by Wes Craven, and it stars Joshua Jackson, Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg. When I first heard of this movie, I was only 19 years old. It was around about early 2003 that I first heard about Cursed, and I absolutely loved the Scream trilogy. I loved everything that Wes Craven done, and when I found out he was doing a whodunit movie with werewolf in it, I thought, wow, this sounds amazing already. A werewolf loose in Los Angeles changes the lives of 3 young adults who, after being mauled by the beast, learn they must kill it in order to avoid becoming werewolves themselves. Most of you will know about the production hell that Cursed went through. They started filming the movie in March 2003 for a few weeks or a few months, and then decided to change it up midway through, get new cast members in, etc. And then they started filming again in November 2003, and it was supposed to get a release at the end of 2003, but it didn't happen because of the reshoots. And then it was supposed to come out in 2004, that also didn't happen. And then eventually it got a February 2005 release in America and April 2005 in the UK. Judy Greer, who's one of the stars of the film, she done an interview in 2014 and she was talking about Cursed. She didn't realise or understand why the movie ended up in the production hell that it did, because she read the script and she actually liked the script, and she also remembers saying that or remember filming at least 4 movies worth of footage. I think one of the reasons that they went into this production hell was because anytime they maybe had done the script or some filming, they wanted to get it as good as Scream, and that was never going to happen. So I think that Scream was a burden for them because they just knew they were never going to top that. I think it was Patrick Lussier that confirmed that there's 3 versions of this film, completed full-length versions, one that we saw, which is the final cut, and 2 other versions that had completely different scripts, different cast members, different characters, and they even had a non-CGI werewolf in one of the versions as well. One of the versions of the movie had Skeet Ulrich in it, for example, Heather Langenkamp, Mandy Moore, Corey Feldman, James Brolin, the list goes on. The one I'm most interested in seeing is the one featuring Skeet Ulrich and the one with the practical effects werewolf in it, which is strange because Rick Baker done the practical effects for the werewolf and he was fully credited in the final cut of the movie, even though KNB came in and done the retouches for it. The plot was similar to the recent Wes Craven movies in the form that we don't know who the killer is, and this time we don't know who the werewolf is. It's a whodunit movie, so they have to find out who the original werewolf was so that they can break the curse. The film felt very Hollywood, just like Scream 3. Scream 3 felt different to Scream 1 and 2. It had that Hollywood feel to it, and I know that Cursed and Scream 3 were set in Hollywood, but it just had that polished look that just didn't fit that type of movie. I think the best parts of the movie featuring the werewolf wasn't the CGI, it was the practical scenes. There wasn't a lot of practical effects, but the ones that we saw the practical effects, I think that's where the werewolf was the scariest. When I grew up, I was scared of werewolves. I think it's because of An American Werewolf in London. So anytime I saw a werewolf movie, it scared me. Only when it was a practical effects one because of what happened in An American Werewolf in London. So when you see the effects in Cursed, the only time I got a little bit of a fear was when it wasn't CGI. One of my biggest issues was the characters. I didn't care for most of the characters. In fact, most of the characters were annoying. The only ones I really got behind were Bo and Jimmy, and that's because those had good character dynamic and the characters changed throughout the film. So I cared for what happened to Jimmy and Bo, but everybody else I didn't really bother. I remember watching this for the first time thinking that was a really good movie, and I think I wanted to like it more than I actually did. But watching it again, a little bit older, hopefully a little bit wiser, I can see that there was something missing there. It's a decent movie. Despite what people say, a lot of people say it was a terrible movie. It's not a terrible movie whatsoever, but there's definitely something missing there. It's very choppy. You can tell that the movie was filmed at different times. You can tell that different scenes didn't really fit the movie or the scene that it was in. For example, there was a scene where she had a dream where she was biting Joshua Jackson. That just didn't make sense because they didn't really have dreams in the film apart from that one, and I found out that that scene wasn't actually a dream to begin with. That was one of the ending scenes or near the end of one of the versions of the movie. So it's a very, very choppy movie. Despite all the negatives though, guys, and despite all the production hell, I still really like this film. I would probably watch it again because it was really good. I think one thing that will help everyone or most people appreciate it is if we finally get a Blu-ray or a 4K that comes out with all 3 versions of the film, so we can appreciate all the versions that they made and just how much effort that went into the film. Wes Craven said that he spent like 2.5 years making the movie, and in the time that he spent making the movie, he said he could have done 2 to 3 films out with Cursed.
Also co-starring in Cursed is James Brolin.
So what are your thoughts on the movie, guys? Do you know about the production hell? I'm assuming that you do. And would you like to see the other versions of the film? As always, leave your comments down below. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.